Hey guys, it's Dr. Michelle Markham, and I have Dr. Patrick Kelley here with me today, and we are going to be talking about advanced biostructural correction. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and it's a type of chiropractic care that it's just very, very specialized. So we're going to be learning a little bit about that today. But before we get into interviewing Dr. Kelley, I actually want to tell you a little bit about him like I normally do, so you know his background a little bit. So I'm going to be reading, and just give me some grace if I stumble a little bit here because my glasses aren't always the greatest. Dr. Patrick J. Kelley is a board-certified doctor of chiropractic. He received his credentials from Life University of Chiropractic in Marietta, Georgia. Dr. Kelley has received advanced training and specializes in the field of spinal biomechanics and nutritional counseling. Dr. Kelley considers one of his high points of his career to be mission trips to Russian cities of Romania and Moldova, thank you. Yeah. In May and September of 1995, working with a team of other chiropractors, Dr. Kelley provided treatment to abandoned children suffering from AIDS. On those trips, he and his team treated over 60,000 people suffering from a wide variety of health issues, including epileptic seizures, Parkinson's, crossed eyes, deafness, and paralysis. Each morning, hundreds of people, many of who had traveled hours to get there, would be waiting for the clinic to open. Making a real difference in the lives of these poorest people was an unforgettable experience. That's really wonderful.
It was definitely one of the highlights of being a chiropractor, to be able to help as many people as we did. And what was pretty neat, how many people would come back every time that this team of doctors and students would go over to help these people. It was a great experience, something I'll never forget.
That's so awesome. And I think a lot of people still don't know, a lot of people do, and a lot of people that are in this group, they understand that chiropractic does treat these sorts of diseases. I think that the general consensus in the bulk of the population still remains that they think, you're just adjusting the spine, you're just fixing a sore back or a sore neck or something like that. So I know I didn't tell you I was going to ask that ahead of time, but I just sort of got there. So do you want to just address that really quick before we talk about some of the other things I was going to ask you?
Absolutely. And first of all, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. I mean, my purpose is to help as many people as I can. There's a lot of people suffering, but it was interesting when I came back from that first trip and the results that we got. The first one was in May of 1995. I was so blown away by how many people came, the type of cases we treated, the amount of people that we helped. They were doing another trip in September, so I went back again. And we've seen a lot of the same people. And they were bringing the sick of the sick. We did treat people with neck pain, but they were looking at this specific type of chiropractic procedure. It wasn't advanced biostructural correction. I wasn't doing that then. I didn't know about that. So the cases that you mentioned, people with kids who were deaf, cross-eyes, blindness, these were cases that normal chiropractors don't see in the States because, again, like you said, it's mostly neck pain, low back pain. And that's really not what chiropractic is really about. We don't treat symptoms.
Right.
We get to a root cause of a problem. And that's the thing is, if you get to the root cause of someone's problem, the body can heal. You remove those interferences and the body can heal.
Absolutely.
So when I finished chiropractic school and then I opened up my practice, this was my ideal type of patients that I wanted to see. And it was tough because people thought you were crazy that if someone was deaf or blind, what can chiropractic do? Because here in the States, it's about headaches and neck pain and low back pain, and it's so much more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's so cool that you got to go there and do that to a population that was open to it. Didn't have the resources, obviously, because they're the poorest of the poor, but also the fact that, those people don't even have very good, not to say that we have very good allopathic care here, but they don't have the kind of over commercialized allopathic care that we have here. There's not the huge, buildings and, big, huge companies like there is here. And so I think maybe in some of those underprivileged countries, there's just more openness to it, possibly. Do you feel that way too?
Well, it's interesting, and you're absolutely right. So we'd wake up in the morning, and the team of docs and students, we'd all get together and have breakfast. And where our breakfast was, when you looked out the window to where our makeshift clinic was, there would literally be 300 to 400 people online waiting for us. And that was all day.
That's awesome.
And so it is awesome. And then, the clinic would operate from 9 to 5, and then we'd come back the next day and we'd tell people, just come back tomorrow. And they're like, well, can't you see us? Well, we'll be back tomorrow. And then when you come back to the States, they're like, oh my God, chiropractic,
Yes.
because there is to some degree, there's a negative to
Yep.
chiropractic. It's just people just don't understand what chiropractic really is.
I think we're going to see that change more and more, over the last definitely over the last 30 years, but then in Michigan, and you're out there in New York, right? Upstate?
Correct.
Is it upstate New York, or where is it located?
So I'm on Long Island.
Oh, Long Island, that's right.
Long Island, yeah, right.
And I should know that from your accent, but it's a little
So a lot of times it's a dead giveaway.
Yeah. So, but I feel like chiropractic and naturopathic and acupuncture and those modalities and professions, or whatever we want to call them, but I feel like they've been more accepted over the last 30 years. And then the closer we get to our time where we are now, the last 5 years, the last 10 years, you're seeing more people being open to it, more people, even the ones that don't get insurance coverage for those professions, people are willing to, pay for it because they're understanding that they're not getting the, the healing that they're looking for through allopathic medication, surgeries, and, the stuff that they do where they're basically trying to suppress a symptom, where what we do is we're trying to treat the root cause. We're looking like, where is the body out of balance? Where is there interference? Where is there something, whether it's emotional, whether it's structural, whether it is nutritional, like whatever it might be, where is that, I call it a beaver dam, but where is that happening in the body where we can, root that out and actually re-nourish that area and get it to start flowing again. And I think people, especially with what's going on with us now, I think people are really going to start waking up. I just have so much hope for it, where I see in the next, 5 to 10 years that people are just going to turn their backs on that old system that we've had for 100, 150 years, where, we could get into all the stuff, about the, I can't even think of who it is right now. It's like my mind is just blank. But, the people who brought allopathic medicine into play, the Rockefellers and all that, stuff that you and I could talk about for hours and go like, oh, such a bad situation. But, when big business basically got involved in our health, that's where it started to become a problem for us. And what real healers do actually started to get really suppressed because people want to make money. But the truth is that the population really just wants to feel good. And so
absolutely,
this is not making them feel good. So they're going to start realizing like, hey, we've been trying to do this for this many years. And you and I probably get, and other friends of ours that do what we do, we probably get the people who have tried everything else for the most part, unless they were just raised in this sort of belief system. But most people, it's like we get the people who they've gone everywhere, they've tried everything, they've probably had organs removed, they've had surgeries, doctors have told them everything, promised them hook, line, and sinker that, oh yeah, I'm going to cure you with these drugs and I'm going to remove this organ and you're going to feel so much better. And then it doesn't. And they actually are starting to get worse, and they see their life like, falling away before their eyes. And then they're going like, I'm desperate. I'll even go to that chiropractor or that acupuncturist or that naturopath now, and I'll do anything, even if I have to pay out of pocket for it, because I'm desperate, because I don't want to die. I'm sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, and I'm ready for a change. And I think that's where what we do finally comes in. But I'm hoping that the future will be more and more of people they start babies out this way. And this is the way we start life out, is with natural care, where we're teaching our people, this is how, this is the best way to, take care of yourself so you don't have the problems happening. So.
And I agree 100%. And I think it's things like we're doing here today, and a lot of doctors and natural health practitioners are getting the word out that a symptom is just our body telling us something is wrong. What is causing that problem? And taking nothing away from allopathic medicine, because there is a need for it. But when you're chasing symptoms, or only come in when there's a symptom, where natural health and practitioners, let's look at prevention.
Yes.
Why wait for a crisis to occur to handle it? And there are signals by the body letting us know that something is wrong, and that's what a symptom is. It's silly. We'll use this example, especially the way cars are today. The check engine light comes on. You can cover that up. And the thing today with that technology is it actually tells you if there's a problem with the engine. Is there an issue with the oil? Is the windshield fluid low? So it's letting us know, and you can either do two things. You can ignore it or handle the cause of the problem.
Absolutely.
And again, this is just my viewpoint. I don't know if this is accurate, but when you watch TV and you see the drug commercials, and they're listing all the side effects, and I think that's right. And then I think that people start looking at the heck, these side effects are worse than the condition that I have. And heck, some of the side effects I tell you is death. Do you really want to sign up for that deal?
Exactly.
Right? And so I think it's a combination of that, doing things what we're doing, and more and more natural health practitioners getting the word out that there is a more effective and healthier way. And I agree, people just want to feel better. Where is that solution?
Absolutely.
Like you said with the Rockefellers, I mean, that's another time we can get into stuff like that.
Yes.
And the average person doesn't look at things like that, but there is suppression and with making money, and it's fine to make money, but heck, do it with ethics and integrity.
Absolutely, because you can't. How do you sleep at night doing it at the expense of people's lives and their health and happiness? That's just, to me, yes, everyone deserves to make a living. Everybody deserves to have abundance and so on and so forth. But when you're doing it, and creating atrocities basically and more disease, then all of a sudden it's not okay anymore. So
exactly, I agree with you 100%. And I think the majority of natural health healers have the same exact viewpoint. And that's why we do what we do.
That's why we do what we do. And a lot of us, and I think you included, and I'll just ask you about that, but a lot of us, the reason that we do what we do is because some way we had some issues that weren't solved by, regular mainstream medicine. And then, or we had a family member that they had some issues and we started looking into it ourselves. We found natural health, whatever, school of thought it was, and we found how it could help. And then we became so passionate about it that we wanted to be certified in it, and then be able to teach and help others. So was that your experience as well? Like, why did you become a chiropractor?
Absolutely. When I was 16, I started experiencing low back pain, and nothing too crazy in the beginning. I was a very active kid, played sports, mess around with my friends, fall off your bicycle, your skateboard. And then the low back pain started getting to a point where it was becoming a problem. Mm-hmm. My mom took us to our family doctor and explained what was going on, and he said, all right, go see this orthopedist who happened to be an orthopedic surgeon. So we had a consultation with him, and then he referred me to physical therapy. And I was doing that for a while, and the physical therapy wasn't helping, and not because physical therapy doesn't work. It's,
right.
You have a physical therapy problem.
Right.
And then so I would have days where I'd have excruciating pain, couldn't go to school, couldn't play sports, couldn't hang out with my friends. And then there were days that were pretty good that I could manage. And then after the physical therapy, we went back to meet with the orthopedic surgeon, and he explained to my mom and I that the only way we're going to help your son is we need to do spinal surgery. We need to put 2 steel rods in his spine. Now, the thing about that is they do that surgery if you have a scoliosis of 40 degrees or more. They'll brace you if you have a scoliosis of 20 degrees or more. So my goal was I wanted to play college ice hockey. That was my dream. So I said to him, if I have this surgery, can I play college ice hockey? And he looked me square in the eyes and said, you'll never play sports again. And I turned to my mom and I said, I don't want to do that. My mom's like, exactly. And my mom said, we're not going to do that. But all along this time, my grandmother had been seeing a chiropractor, was in my mom's ear, try it. And then the straw that broke the camel's back is one day I was having a pretty good day. And on Long Island, we have some amazing beaches. So my friend and I, we took the bus to the beach, and I was body surfing, and a wave crashed on my back.
Wow.
And my back locked up. This was by far the worst pain that I've ever experienced the whole time that I was going through this. And if you're from Long Island, you understand that the undertow could be pretty strong.
Yeah, I'm
So
sure.
the undertow was pulling me out a bit, and I'm like, Pat, you have two choices here. One, you can suck it up and get out, or your second choice is you're going to drown.
Yeah.
So obviously we're doing this, and my choice was, all right, I'm getting out of this. But I literally walked up the beach, bent over at the waist.
Wow.
And my friend's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm in agony. You got to get me home. So took the bus home, and there's a road going to a parkway, and it's pretty bumpy. And every time it hit a bump, it literally sent an electric shock from my lower back all the way up into my head.
Wow.
And called my mom, and my mom called this chiropractor. He's seen this immediately. And the interesting thing is, and I think he did this on intention, when he put up my x-rays, he said, your son has a deviation of 5 degrees. I wasn't even close for surgery. But I'd like to think that this surgeon was looking at it as, hey, we tried physical therapy, we tried some muscle relaxers, it didn't work, let's do this.
Yep.
I'd like to give him the benefit of the doubt. So after some treatment, I started feeling better, and I continued going. I ended up playing college ice hockey, and going through this treatment, I was like, man, I would love to do this someday. And this guy completely changed my life.
That's so amazing.
Absolutely. He's the reason why I became a chiropractor, and my purpose is to help as many people. Because as you know, there's a lot of people out there who are suffering. They're looking for answers. They're looking for solutions, and they're out there.
Yes.
You just have to find it.
Yes. Yeah. And that's why we're doing this, because the more people that can hear this sort of stuff, the more people are going to give it a second thought. Maybe I need to not give up right now and not, think that I'm always going to be on this medication, or I'm always going to be in this pain, or my only option is surgery, or I had a surgery and I'm still in pain, and I might be in worse pain than I was. There's still hope for people, right?
There's definitely hope for people. And it's just finding the right technology that's going to help people.
Absolutely.
And medicine doesn't have all the answers, especially anything that's looking at symptoms and handling symptoms. You're not going to get to the root cause of the problem. People are still going to suffer. They may improve a bit, but if you can get to that root cause and remove those interferences, the body can heal. But the body is not 100% self-healing. If it was, there'd be no doctors.
Right.
So we need to find out what the interference is, remove that, whether it's a structural thing, whether it's a nutritional thing, whether it's a stress thing, and on and on. And when you do that, bodies are going to function so much better.
Yeah, it's just some help. And if you think about just the simplicity of, if we were to eat junk food all the time, we're not going to be healthy. So we have to give ourselves some help and feed ourselves the right food. It's the same. We can't just, not eat or not drink, some liquids or whatever and think that we're just going to, be on autopilot. So we actually have to do things, to be able to remove those interferences to heal ourselves. And most people don't know, or obviously I can't adjust my own back. Right. I can't do acupuncture on my own back. So I have to see somebody to do or to help me with those things. Even us as practitioners, you can't do your own adjustments, so you have to go see someone, correct?
Absolutely. And the thing is, I've been on I'm 58. I've been under chiropractic care since I was 16. So getting my spine adjusted, I exercise, I try to keep my stress as low as possible. I take the right supplements. I eat mostly organic. So all of these components is, because one of my goals is I want to live to be 100.
Yeah.
So, and it's not the quantity, I want the quality.
Right.
So I'm looking at all these different factors, and it's how are those things going to get me to be 100? Because who the heck wants to be 100 and you're just confined to a bed? I want good quality.
Exactly. And so many people that are older, we just had my father-in-law living with us, and he's 81, and his quality of life, a broken hip this winter and a broken femur on the opposite leg the year before. So we know that there's some underlying issues there, obviously, if we've got all these broken bones happening. But, it's like the doctors that he sees, they're just giving him medication for his diabetes, giving him medication for his heart. He's had multiple surgeries. He's got a rod in his leg. Not to say that none of this stuff could be helped, but, he's in that old school mindset that, I worship my doctors. I'm just going to do what they said. They told me I'm on the best heart medicine I can be on. They said I'm on the best insulin, but yet they don't tell him anything about his diet. They don't tell him how to strengthen his bones. They tell him to eat cheese and yogurt, and that's what he's going to. And it's like, hey, I have to step back because, when he was living here, I wanted to take care of him, but it's not my place to try to change him. He's not coming to me. I could give him a little bit of advice, but, unless somebody is wanting our help, we really can't just force it down their throats either. So there's that.
And the thing that's interesting, going back to the doctors telling them eat cheese and eat yogurt, what a lot of the general public doesn't know is that medical doctors get zero nutritional training in medical school.
I tried to tell them that.
and that's an issue, because now what you're doing is, when someone's a doctor or some type of health professional, they think we have all the answers.
Yeah.
And so we put medical doctors, and I don't want this to be a bashing of medical doctors, but we put them up on a high pedestal.
Absolutely.
In that they have all the answers and all the solutions. And ethically, telling someone when you don't know, and you're telling someone this is what you need to do,
Yep.
when you don't know, you don't have the training or the clinical experience, in my viewpoint, that's a form of malpractice, because this person is entrusting in you and you're giving them the wrong information. You're better off just saying, I don't know. Let's see if we can. Exactly.
It's not that hard to do. And we even have to do that when we run into something with someone where we're at a roadblock and it's like, hey, I've tried everything in my expertise, in my toolkit, and we're still not finding the answer. It must be something that's beyond my realm of what I do. And so I'm going to send you to this person. I'm not a chiropractor. So when I see that a person needs chiropractic, which is most people anyway, I say, here's a chiropractor that I think you would work really well with. Go see that person.
Right.
And I think that is really the most responsible thing that we can do as practitioners, no matter what we do, whether we're, psychotherapists or chiropractors or acupuncturists or medical doctors or whatever we do that's a professional for health. We should, realize like, hey, I have a limitation on what I know, and I want the best for my patient, not the best for my bank account, right? That's
if people think that way, because the ultimate goal is the patient is number one. They're looking for a solution. And I'm the same way. If I can't help somebody with something, we need to refer them out. And again, for the people who have certain health conditions that are not looking at alternative medicine or natural medicine or natural health, I guess thank God they have these medications, because it's slowing down and it's slowing things down, but it's the inevitable's coming.
right.
So it's slowing down that inevitable. You continue to get sicker and sicker, but it's just at a slower pace.
Right. And they can have a better quality of life, because if you're diabetic and you don't have insulin, you'll probably be dead. Or
Exactly.
if you don't have, whatever it might be. But there are certain things that, if they didn't have, what do I want to say? Like prednisone. If they don't have something like that, you could go into anaphylactic shock if you have asthma or whatever, and you could be dead. So yes,
Absolutely.
while asthma is treatable and totally fixable through getting to the root of the problem, that to me is a better alternative. But in the meantime, if the best you can do and where you're at happens to be taking the medication, obviously that's going to give you the chance to live another day to maybe find the root of the problem, hopefully. Yeah. So that is true. And we do have to realize that and honor that. And you know what, if I get in a car accident and my guts are hanging out, I'm going to need a surgeon to put them back in.
Absolutely. And that type of surgery, emergency surgery in this country, it's the best in the world.
Yes.
But on the opposite end of the spectrum, and this is a sad statistic and a scary statistic, the United States, which is the best country in the world, that's my viewpoint, love it here, and most of us can attest to that. But we consume 50% of the medication in the world. Yes. And we're one of all the industrialized countries, we're one of the sickest countries. So if people looked at that and said, well, if medicine was the answer, we're consuming 50% of it, we should be one of the healthiest,
Yes.
not one of the sickest. So that model is not working. And I believe it was Thomas Edison that said, the doctor of the future will treat disease looking at the frame of the body and nutrition. He knew something back then.
Yeah. There was a lot of people who said that too, and I think I think that was his quote, and there were several other visionaries, like, I think Einstein said some things on that, of that nature, and it's true. I mean, even if you go way back to, what they were saying in Roman, exactly, and they knew. It's just that we sort of got, I won't say we got off course, but we found this other pathway of treating symptoms, and it's really serving maybe a different purpose, the greed thing and what's happened with insurance and all that stuff.
Like you said, it's the suppression of natural healthcare, where, again, we'll talk about that another time, but how
people should have the right to choose, right? Give them all the options, lay it out for them, and let them choose what do they want, instead of like trying to let's poo-poo this and let's censor that. And now with all the censorship that's happening online, it's kind of irritating. I never thought anyway that I'd read when I was in college and high school about censorship, in history and in other countries. And I was like, oh, not in America. Thank God we don't have to deal with that stuff. Here we are, and I'm almost 50 years old, and there's censorship all over the place. And it's like, wow, this is really happening. This is crazy. Like, we need to get back to that point where we can just freely talk about things and people get to choose, what route do I want to take? And nobody judges them for it. You just let people.
Right. It's like the forum that we're on. We got to continue to get that word out, speak to people, educate our patients properly, and then they can go out and educate their friends and family on the same thing. And a lot of it really comes down to observation.
Absolutely.
Hey, if we're doing one thing versus this other, which one is really working? And if you objectively look at something and not subjectively look at it, objectively looking at something is what is the truth. What's really happening, and subjectively you're basing it off of feelings and emotions. And if you do that, you may miss the boat. And when it comes to our health, you can have all the money in the world, but number one, I want my health.
Yes, absolutely. That's so true, because if you don't have, and that was another quote, like the first health is wealth, and I can't remember who said that, or the first wealth is health. And it's true. Like, if you don't have your health, all the money in the world can never buy you happiness. If you're sick and in bed, you can't go and enjoy the world and take a vacation, or, enjoy your beautiful house that you built or the food that you made if you can't digest it, and, all that stuff. It's just really important. Yeah, but I definitely did want to get to asking you about, what you do specifically now that you've trained in advanced biostructural correction. So if we can go with that, I just wanted to say first, what are the primary differences of ABC, advanced biostructural correction? We'll just say that to make it easier, because I kind of stumble over it a little bit, versus other types of chiropractic care. What is the difference of it? What is, what makes it work differently?
And it's a great question. And before I directly answer that question, let's look at what normal is, because there's a couple of things that we need to look at before I can go into what the difference is, and it'll make a lot more sense.
Okay.
So let's look at normal posture. And posture, by definition, means the position that the body's in. And some people confuse posture with the way you sit on something or lay on something, or you're slumped over at your computer. Yeah, that is a type of form of posture. But the true posture that we're looking at is, if you look at the spine from the front, the spine should be straight. From the side, there are three curves. There's a curve in the neck, so curve in the neck, mid-back, low back. And that is our foundation. And if you look at the overall body structure, what's a normal structure? So you need to know what normal is to know what abnormal is. So if you look at someone from the front, the head should be level, shoulders should be level, hips, knees, ankles should be level. And then from the side, the ear, which is the center of the skull, should line up to the center of your shoulder, the center of your hip, to your knee, to your ankle. And this is an easy test. Anyone can do this. They can look in a mirror, or they can look at one of their family members, and they can see, is your posture, does it fit that model? Right, exactly. Thank you. So, and then it was also two major discoveries. One One is that the body is a single synchronized functioning unit, which means that one thing affects something else instantaneously in the body. And two of the major discoveries is one, ironically enough, were two neurologists. One was a neurosurgeon, Dr. Bragg. And what he found is that the body is a single synchronized functioning unit, meaning that one thing will change instantly in the spine. So he discovered what's called meningeal adhesions. So the meninges, people know what meningitis is, and that just means inflammation of the meninges. So meninges, it's a Latin word in sheath the covering. And the meninges protect the brain and spinal cord. So the brain and spinal cord sits in this, and it's an elastic, strong elastic tube. But it attaches to our skull. Inside the spinal bones, it wraps around the spinal cord and attaches to the tailbone. And what he found, and what he was looking at, why were some people suffering from these different neurological problems? He was looking for a cause, not an effect. Mm-hmm. And what he found was that people were losing the normal curves in their spine, specifically in the neck.
Yes.
And the spinal cord was being stretched. And then these meninges were being stretched. And then he discovered that the meninges were developing these adhesions. Think of Velcro, attaching to the spinal cord and to the spinal bones. And what that was doing was it was locking the spine in a specific position. So another neurosurgeon came across the same thing, these adhesions. And what these two neurosurgeons were doing was surgery. Yamada was cutting out the adhesions to help relieve tension, and he was getting some results. Dr. Bragg was doing surgery, traction underneath the skin, where he would actually pull the head back more over the center of the body. And what they were finding was certain neurological problems, people were feeling better and there was improvement. And then the next discovery was Dr. Jukowitz, who developed advanced biostructural correction. We'll just call it ABC because it's a lot easier to say.
Yeah.
And he found that bones in the spine get pushed forward in a direction that the body physically can't self-correct on its own because there's no muscle or a combination of muscles pulling in that direction. Meaning, there's no muscle on the back of our spine that sticks straight out to hold on to something, because what muscles do, muscles are a pulley system. They pull levers, they pull bones. So if you feel in the back of your spine and you take your shirt and pull it, there's nothing there for it to attach to. So when these bones get pushed forward, the body can't self-correct them. So the body is always adapting or compensating. So what the body does, it'll use these muscles to pull other bones to compensate for those bones that are stuck forward. Now you break into these adhesions, and the body is locked. These meningeal adhesions are locking the body in these compensated positions. Dr. Jukowitz thought that everyone knew that bones got pushed forward. Then he realized that there was no muscle to pull in that direction. And then he also was taking sitting and standing X-rays, because most X-rays are done standing. Mm-hmm. And what they found with this Dr. Ward as well, because he was taking sitting and standing X-rays, that the spine changes from standing to sitting. So when we stand, our bodies compensate very well. When we sit or lie down, our bodies don't have to compensate as well, because what we're sitting on or laying on is supporting us. And he's seen a difference in how the spine would change. So fast forward. Dr. Jukowitz took the work of Dr. Ward, the sitting standing X-rays, and he did a lot, and then Dr. Jukowitz did a lot of research on that, and then took the work of the Swedish neurosurgeon, Dr. Bragg, with these adhesions. And he came up with a system, Dr. Jukowitz, how to break up those adhesions without surgery, which is a beautiful thing.
Yes.
And as you break up those adhesions, and we have a system to know which bones are stuck forward versus the ones that are compensating. So when you treat the bones that are stuck forward, the cause, the body will release the compensations through a process we call unwinding. Mm-hmm. I'm going to touch upon that. So let's go back to, well, how does this all happen to the body? How does the body break down like this? So think of a tree. We're going to look at the roots, the trunk of the tree, and then branches of a tree. So we'll jump first to the trunk of the tree. That's the bones getting pushed forward that the body can't self-correct. Well, how does that happen? We'll go to the root of the tree. These are the slips and the falls and the car accidents and the sporting injuries. The kids with heavy backpacks, on your cell phone with your head down, office workers slumped over, physical labor type things, all these different sports that we play, push bones forward in a direction the body can't self-correct. Now we go into the branch of the tree, the different symptoms, the headaches, the low back pain, painful periods, digestive problems, just to name a few. So where the compensations are is where the body is twisting, and that's where people are feeling the pain. The true problem is the bones that are stuck forward. So a system was designed to know bones get pushed forward, and when they go forward, they flex forward, they twist, they do all these funky motions, but mainly when they go forward, they flex forward. So everything above that is going to collapse forward. And we don't have one of these. We have bunches of these. And it goes from birth up to your age. And it also depends on, as I said, the different injuries people have had. Another thing that Dr. Jokowitz figured out, and we're doing this combination 24 hours a day. Certain footwear pushes bones forward. Things that we sit on, if it's a soft couch, a recliner, most chairs in cars, the part that your butt sits on, not the back, slopes down. If our bed is too soft, if our pillow height is too high or too low, pushes bones forward. So he figured out a system, which direction these bones are going, forward, right or left. Once you establish that, we know which bones are stuck forward versus the ones that are compensating. As you treat the bones that are stuck forward, the body goes through this normal, natural unwinding process, healing process, to let the compensations go until you unwind to the next set of bones that are stuck forward that some injury in your past created. So by doing this, you're actually getting the body to be more upright, to function and perform better. People will report, I can breathe better, I'm standing up straighter, I'm a lot more looser, relaxed. So then what's the difference between ABC chiropractors and traditional chiropractors? Technology is always changing and advancing. We're not using the same cell phones that we used 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Computers are changing. The technology of our cars is always changing. So traditional chiropractic, you're laying on your stomach and you're pushing down on the spine. Now, two things here. Remember I said earlier, when you stand, your body compensates best. But if you're sitting on something or laying on something, your body doesn't compensate as well. And bones get pushed forward. So if you're pushing down on the spine, which direction are those bones going? They're going further forward. So when you remove a compensation, temporarily you may feel good, but later on it comes back or it's in a different part of your body. So advanced biostructural correction is about getting to the root cause, and that root cause is remove those adhesions, those meningeal adhesions, find the bones that are stuck forward. As you correct them, you let the body go through its natural healing ability. Right, so how do we know that's true? I could just be saying that. Let's go back to observation. And if you objectively look at your observation and what we do with our patients, especially a brand new patient, we'll ask them to take a deep breath in and out, let your body relax. Notice your breathing. Look in the mirror, because we have a mirror right in front where we're treating patients. You see that your head tilts, you see how your body is twisted. I'll have them, and most ABC practitioners will have them do, say, a squat. Notice that. And then after we do, whether it be a meningeal release or what's called the first rib maneuver, where you adjust the first rib, and then you adjust either the seventh bone or C7 or T1, which just individual bones in the spine, and you have the person take a deep breath, and they'll all report, I could take, it's so much easier. I can notice my shoulders are back. And someone will say, even some of the pain I was feeling is a little bit less. Oh, do a squat. Hey, that's a lot easier. So we're getting people to see how their body is performing better and functioning better. Look in the mirror. Do you notice that, hey, your head's a little bit backward or your shoulders are more level? Yeah, I do. I feel a little bit looser. And now as we run through the rest of the protocol, after you do that treatment, what do you notice about your body? And when people can observe what's going on with their body objectively, then they know that this is the solution. So the big difference is When you're pushing bones forward, you're making problems worse. If you're removing compensations, you're making problems worse. And here's an interesting point. You look at a lot of older people, and their bodies are breaking down posture-wise. Their heads forward, they're all hunched over. Heck, you look at older chiropractors. And when I go for continuing ed, and you're at a seminar for continuing education, you look at some of the docs that have been practiced 30, 40, 50 years, been getting adjusted. Their body mechanics are god awful. It's embarrassing. So there are systems that do work, and that's what advanced biostructural correction does. It gets your body functioning better, gets your body more upright so you can breathe better, you can function better. Heck, this is why I do this. It's one of the things that I'm doing to help me get to 100. I want to be active. And I have patients who report that are working out. I can lift more weight. I can get back to playing tennis. I can get back to picking my kids up. And other chiropractors can say the same thing. And it is true, because I had traditional chiropractic. But when I got on the ABC, I went through the unwinding. And some of the unwinding is not fun, because you're unwinding back through old injuries. Could be a bad car accident. And when your body compensates, what the body's compensating is trying to stabilize that injury. And when I went through the unwinding, some of them were rough. But I noticed every time I went through an unwind, my body functioned better. I performed better. Mm-hmm. And I'm proud to say, and happy to say, at 58, I can go out on a 15-mile bike ride and know that tomorrow I'm not going to hurt, or after that ride I'm not going to hurt. I can ski, I can jet ski. These are the things that we all should be doing.
Exactly, we totally should. And people say all the time, it's age. It's age. And that's not true. It's these injuries that have built up, these dysfunctions, these compensations. So what I'm getting from everything that you're saying, which you kind of already know this, but because I've studied a little bit about it from where you directed me, like back in December, November, to look it up. But so basically, for people who are like, wow, that's a lot of technical talk or whatever, it's this type of chiropractic is not a symptom-based approach. Oh, my shoulder hurts, let's move that joint, put it back, like release the tension on it. Let's not crack that bone and just, make that gas pocket release or whatever. We're actually looking at what is the root of, these mechanical corrections that are happening with the body, and we're fixing that problem. So especially these adhesions, which, adhesions, fibrosis, or what else, there's another word too.
Scar tissue.
Scar tissue. Thank you. It's simple, the simplest one. So, the scar tissue, like you said, like Velcro, it just sticks together, and every time it pulls apart, it it heals back in this kind of like a nasty little spider web like this. And it's like, it has no stretch and give the way it should. And so we need to break up those adhesions in the body, whether they're in a muscle or in a tendon or connective tissue, the meninges, whatever you're talking about, in order to restore so much, whether it's, even the blood flow, the nerve flow, everything,
right.
And just that elasticity. So like, that's the one thing that happens as we get old, we get stiffer and stiffer and stiffer and stiffer. Right. So our shoulders end up here and we're hunching over and all that stuff. So,
and if you look in the community, you see that a lot. And the other thing that traditional chiropractic doesn't do, it doesn't remove those adhesions. And again, we use some big words here. So for simplicity, and the simplicity I use with my patients is, here's what goes wrong with bodies. Bones get pushed forward in a direction our body physically can't self-correct, and then the body's going to compensate.
Absolutely.
The compensation is when you feel the pain, the tightness, to decrease range of motion. And as you correct the bones that are stuck forward, the body functions and performs better. It's that simple.
So when you kind of already addressed this a little bit, but as far as, what are the things that you've noticed with patients, like versus your old form of chiropractic? And I just want to say that, a lot of people know this, but there's a lot of people that don't know it. Even among traditional chiropractic, there's chiropractors, Thompson technique. There's like is it the Thompson leg check, like where you turn right and left? And then there's like, we could probably name 20 different techniques at least among traditional chiropractic, like straight chiropractic. And then you get into like all kinds of other ones. And then, then you have, what you do. And so like, if you took all the things that you learned back at Life Chiropractic School, what, your skill set from when you graduated up until you learned ABC, where would you make the comparison, or where would you say, if you want to give it a percentage or a rough estimate or whatever, where would you see your success rate with the people that you treat has gone? Like, is it a shorter healing time? Is it more a longer lasting healing time? Is it, more of a complete resolution of symptoms? Like, something like that. Give me some kind of idea of what you've seen differently since you changed the way you practice.
Okay, great question. And in chiropractic school, I started learning what's called upper cervical. And upper cervical is one of the oldest forms of chiropractic. And it served me through school on those mission trips, 3 years in practice. We did get some good results, some very good results. But when I learned ABC, we get fantastic results and high percentages. And anytime you're doing something specific, and with ABC, we're mechanically testing each bone in the spine to see which bones are stuck forward. So I would say the percentages are in the high 90s. And also looking at what can a person do ability-wise, functionality-wise, that's been the biggest difference. And I learned a lot of the techniques in chiropractic school because we had to. Chiropractors that I know that did other forms of chiropractic, 15, 20 years, some of them were teachers in some of the other different names of procedures. And they have all reported when they started doing ABC, they all reported that their bodies are functioning so much better, and their bodies weren't doing as well before. They were looking for an answer. Mm-hmm. And once they started getting under ABC, their bodies have done so much better. Heck, the chiropractor that I started getting treated by when I first was learning ABC, how he found Dr. Juckwitz, he couldn't practice much. He was constantly in pain. And when he seen Dr. Juckwitz, like, you're my last hope. Yeah. So there's a lot of different types of chiropractic out there. And I found this because I was looking for how can we have patients' bodies function and perform better? How can I get my body performing and functioning better? Yeah. And another thing that is very, very helpful to know and separate from traditional chiropractic is when we take pre and post x-rays, especially on the post x-ray, you actually see the spinal changes. You're seeing the curves coming back, and that's the most important. The side view and getting those curves back, because that's what's holding the body more upright. The front view is important, but not like having those curves. And then when we're treating our patients, we use a computer software called Posture Pro. So every 12 visits, we're taking these pictures, the computer's analyzing it, showing us how the body is changing, how it's unwinding. So we also know when there's an endpoint. There's no more change structurally in the body. Hey, your body is unwound. Well, other techniques they're not able to do that. Heck, a lot of chiropractors don't even take x-rays, never mind even taking post x-rays. So how do you know you're correcting the cause of the problem?
Absolutely. Yeah, at that point, you're only relying on, what's the report of pain, and you don't know if, again, you're just treating the symptom. Correct. So it might just be like, hey, I'm taking oxycodone for pain, but is my pain still there underneath that drug? Is my pain going to come back as soon as I stop getting my adjustments every week or every 3 weeks or whatever? That makes so much sense. Absolutely.
And that's what I like about ABC. There is an endpoint, and what we mean by an endpoint, once you remove all of the adhesions, and it does take time. The average person to unwind their spine can take 18 to 24 months. Mm-hmm. Some people take longer depending on how much injuries that they've had. But then once you break up all those adhesions, if you're an active person, which I am and most people want to be, I might get treated 2-3 times a month, maybe twice a month, because I'll push bones out of alignment and I'll feel a little funky and I'll go get treated because, again, I want to stay active. So there is definitely an endpoint, and again, the goal is the person's body functioning and performing better? Because people will tell you, I've seen a chiropractor, I did some other type of body work, and the pain is less, it's better, but they're still not as active as they want to be. It's because it's not about the pain. It's about functionality, right, and performance. That's the key. And the things that I just mentioned, those are the keys that separate advanced biostructural correction and traditional chiropractic.
That makes so much sense. I love that because, like, for me, I actually have a reverse curve in my neck. My up here is like, I think it's my, I'm going to try to remember, but I think it's my C4 that is pushed forward. Or that's, I don't remember. Maybe sometime I'll have to show you my x-ray and then you can tell me what you think about it. But yeah, in all the years that I've had chiropractic, of course, it makes my pain go away. And I haven't been to the chiropractor in 2 weeks because of things that are going on. But and I'm in, like, right now, I feel like I need an adjustment because it's bothering me. It feels tight, and I'll probably go, do some stretching and, move around and get it to, give way and loosen up and whatever, but that's not fixing the problem. And so in all of these years that I've been an avid chiropractic recipient, patient, whatever, it hasn't resolved. So it's just been treating the symptom for all this time.
Right. And again, it's getting to the root cause. And again, what Dr. Jokowitz figured out and Dr. Ward figured out with the sitting, standing x-rays and the neurosurgeons, Dr. Bragg and Yamada, that's what brought all of this together. And even the 18 years that I've been doing ABC, Dr. Jokowitz has changed and tweaked things a bit just to make it more effective. And again, technology is always advancing. And, and again, it's find the cause of the problem. And if you get to the root cause of someone's problem, we're just talking mechanically here. That person, how you measure that is with pre and post x-rays, as I said, the computerized structural analysis when we look at a person's body and how is this person functioning? Their daily activities, are they performing better?
Yeah.
And when you have that, then you're fixing a person's body.
I think when we find out that that's actually a possibility for us, because so many people have that mindset that, oh, well, I'm just getting old. This is expected. I'm not going to be able to do. And that's just the biggest untruth that we've ever been told. Like historically, I think that, you're going to age and get old and your body's just going to break down. Of course, we have, we do, decline with age. We're never going to be as fast healing as we were when we were 5 years old or whatever. But there's so much room around what we can do that we've believed that it's just not possible for us. It's like, I see people who are younger than me, or even people that are my age that I went to high school with, and, they have, they're basically having major issues. Well, I mean, I was diagnosed with arthritis when I was 15. And I'm medication for years and years and years, and I haven't taken an ibuprofen in years. And so you would think that technically, if the timeline had progressed the way the doctors had told me, I shouldn't be able to pretty much do anything at this point because my arthritis should be so bad that I should be back on prescription drugs and I shouldn't be even active at all. But right. I don't accept that because I basically undid my thinking on that years ago and was like, you know what, actually medication's not the answer. I need to get to the root of the inflammation, get to the root of why calcium's depositing in joints and that and that and that, and learn, like, what do I need to do to keep the joints or the, the spine in alignment so that because basically our structure, just from a biomechanical standpoint and a kinetic chain standpoint, if anything is out of alignment anywhere in the body, the muscle function is going to want to protect that joint, and it's going to shut down the energy that it has to be able to operate that muscle. So you just become weaker. And then, like you said, your body will, and I'm talking even just extremities, and then your body's going to go like, okay, if this wrist joint is turned just a little bit, and then this elbow is just out a little bit, and then it travels up to the shoulder in an upward fashion, the way, I'm going to not have the same strength in my arm to lift things. And then I'm going to use other areas of my body, like maybe my back, to be able to start lifting things because my arm can't do its job. And so it's going to spread everywhere. But just even looking at the spine as the core of the body being really that, our true structure, our spinal cord and our spine itself, it's going to send that nerve function out to tell my wrist where it needs to be and those muscles what they need to be doing. So it can work both ways, but I totally agree with you that the spine is just so important. And there's just so much beauty and function that goes on there. There's just so much that can be wrong. And I hate to say the word wrong, but in such a small way that if you just, like you said, that curve in my neck that's not there, that's affecting my entire body.
And that was the work that Bray did: reverse curves, lost straight curve, stretching the spinal cord. And when we talk about compensations, the body's going to use any joint in the body. It could be your knee twisted, your shoulder twisted. So again, where the pain is not where the cause of the problem is, where your body is compensating. So,
Right.
and going back to, a lot of people look at, oh, they'll go to a doctor and they're told it's you getting older. And in aging and pain, it's a common thing. It's not a normal thing to age that way. And it's funny because people will say, well, my doctor told me my knee problem is because of my age. My left knee is because of my age. And my response is, well, how old is your right knee?
Exactly. Good one.
You know, and if you look at things in that light, is where how your body is, and again, just from a mechanical structural thing, and you know, you're only as young or old as your spine. So as your spine breaks down and these joints break down, you are going to age.
Yes.
And again, we're just talking strictly mechanical. Nutritionally is the same thing. If you're not eating healthy, your body's going to break down a lot quicker.
Absolutely.
Well, we
That's so
see it
true.
in a lot of our patients over the years. As they get older, they all report, "Hey, I'm getting more active. I can
Yeah.
move." And that may not be like you're in your 20s, but hey, I'm still very active. Where before I started this type of treatment, before I started doing ABC, I couldn't do those things. And those are the success stories that I love to hear, because again, for 18 years of doing ABC, I see this a lot. And it's exactly what Dr. Jocko-Woods was figuring out, is how do bodies break down? How can we slow down that process and get bodies functioning better? And ABC, of all the things that I've seen, and I've been in practice 22 years, almost 23 years, this is by far the best thing that I've seen among all the different chiropractic treatments. And I've been around and seen a lot of chiropractors. When you look at their bodies, not all, but a good majority of them, their bodies, if traditional chiropractic did what it said it would do, their body should not look that way.
Yes, absolutely. That's so cool though. I love it that as a human race, we continue to look for other, like, better, options. So, I mean, obviously chiropractic just even having its birth, 100 and some years ago. And how long has it been around? 100 and...
It was discovered 1895.
Yeah. So what is that? Like 150 years ago-ish?
God, yeah. I mean, if I had to calculate, I could forget. I should know.
140. Yeah. Something. I don't know. Yeah. I can't do math right now, but but yeah, so it's been around for over 100 years, and obviously it was amazing that it came about and that they've developed many different techniques, and then they've gotten a really great technique that looks at it in a different light that it's never been looked at in before. But the fact that even that, they don't just like say, okay, this is the end all be all, we're done with it. It keeps evolving. They keep looking at it and saying, what else can we know? What else can we know? What else can we know? And that's the cool thing, is that, that whole science isn't subtle thing. It even applies to natural health too, where we could keep discovering more things, because the body is so complex, mind, body, and spirit, even when you're talking about it on all those levels, the energetic level, the quantum mechanics level. There's no way possibly in a lifetime that we could ever discover and know, like, even if that's all you did. So there's always going to be more evolution to it. It doesn't mean that what, this technique is like not good enough. It just means that for right now, it's there, and it's, got a lot of benefits that other forms don't have. And, all of that keeps evolving. So, so my question is if, obviously, you're one chiropractor that does this, that does ABC out of, many, but that's still like a small portion of chiropractic as a whole. And so if someone were to want to find an ABC practitioner that's like in California or in Michigan, like where I am. So if I wanted to find somebody, then how would I find someone?
So you'd go to advancedbiostructural.com, and then you'd go to one of the icons that says provider map, because there are ABC practitioners in every state and throughout the world. And we have a list of all the chiropractors in the states and throughout the world that just specifically do ABC. And once you click on provider map, you scroll down and you can find someone in your area. Hopefully there is someone in your area.
Nice. Yeah, I think I looked a couple months ago, and there was somebody in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is about an hour from me. And then there was somebody possibly in Lansing or Detroit or something. I think there was a couple in Michigan, but I think there was one within an hour of me, which is nice because I actually like to look into that. And then as far as you go, how usually, like in your area, how far do people travel to see you, or like what's your?
Well, that's the unique thing, and I'm glad you asked that question, because, like you said, the chiropractor that does ABC that's about an hour away, it's well worth it because there's not a lot of ABC practitioners.
Mhm.
So typically, chiropractors will get some that their patients will come within 5 miles. I'll have patients that will travel 30, 40, 50 an hour. Some docs have an hour and a half, 2 hours,
Mhm.
because of how good and beneficial this work is.
Absolutely.
Dr. Jokowitz is training docs. Hopefully, we can get more doctors to practice ABC so we don't have to travel. Even for me, I have to travel myself sometimes because the doc that him and I treat each other, we've been treating each other for about 18 years. We can't always get together. And sometimes I'm traveling an hour to get treated, but it's
But it's
well worth
worth
it.
it.
It is worth it because I have a set goal and set standard for my body, and I want to function and stay as young as I can. At 58, heck, there are days I feel like I'm in my early 30s, late 20s.
And there's a lot of modalities like that. Like I know that you're familiar with quantum reflex analysis and Premier Research Labs. And again, there's not a lot of QRA practitioners like in every single city. And so if I want to see a QRA and get QRA done, muscle testing, I teach it. I know how to do it. And I can actually do man, I have aphasia so bad today. It's crazy because I talked all day yesterday, so I think my brain's kind of shot. But using a surrogate, thank you very much.
There you go.
So I know how to surrogate like a family member for myself. But it's just like so much better to go and get a practitioner to take care of you. And I would have to drive 2 hours to get that done. It's well worth it. And so
both you and I know
like, that thing when you find someone or a modality specifically or a person who you really work with well, I think it's that whole quality over quantity thing. So it's like, there's chiropractors galore in the city that I live in, and there's ones that I like for certain things, but if I really wanted to get to the root of my problem, I realize I'm going to have to travel. And it's just like a commitment that I would want to make to myself, because I don't want to be on this planet living through this life feeling like shit.
Right,
I want to feel amazing. I want to feel good. We all deserve to have like really abundant, amazing health. What did Dr. Marshall say? Outrageous health.
Yeah, and that is so true. And what I would tell somebody who, because again, I don't want to insult anyone, any chiropractors, and I go back to observation. And again, these principles, ABC is based off of principles of engineering. So if an engineer is building a bridge, that bridge, and if it's designed to hold 5,000 pounds, they're not designing it to be 5,000 pounds. They're designing it to hold even heavier because of all the different elements. So what I would suggest is try ABC for yourself and compare it to the things that you're doing and really observe how it's changing your body compared to what you were getting before. And more than likely, you're going to notice, hey, my body feels completely different. And that's how it was the first time I got treated with ABC. I was out in Missouri at an upper cervical conference, and a good friend of mine who was a hardcore upper cervical doc started telling me about ABC. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then we went to the conference, we came back to the hotel, and he treats me. He's like, I'm still just learning it. So he ran the whole protocol on me, and I woke up the next morning. I'm like, wow, I haven't felt this. And I thought I felt really good. I'm like, I haven't felt this good in years, or what I thought was good. And my body just felt so much better. So I reached out to Dr. Jokowitz. I wanted to find someone in the area. I started getting treated. But the point being is, yeah, I mean, for your health and with the reverse curve and getting your body mechanics, seek out an ABC doctor and just look at the difference. And for all our listeners, try ABC, compare it to what you're having done, and you will notice a significant difference in how your body is functioning. And then by doing that, you'll know what's right for you. Because I agree, our bodies should not break down the way that a lot of people are breaking down. And just in my profession, when I see other chiropractors, their bodies breaking down, it just shouldn't be. It's not normal. It's not okay.
All the people in their 50s, 40s that are having knee replacements, hip replacements, all that kind of stuff. It's just like it's commonplace now because, well, they allopathically have a surgery for it and they have bionic parts they can put in you. You know, they've got metal and plastic they can stick in you. It's not a big deal. It makes a lot of money. The technology's there. So it's like instead of what can we do to maybe look at why this knee is having a problem, why it's compensating the way it is, why, you know, structurally it's doing what it's doing. Let's just take it out, put a fake one in, and then when that one wears out, we put a new one in. Or, you know, after a while, when your hip wears out, we'll do that one too. It'll be just fine, you know. And it's not necessarily.
That's a great point because, well, when does it all start? Look at our technology with cell phones. You look at young kids. Heck, they even classified it as text neck.
Yes.
Kids are on their cell phones and their heads are down for long periods, playing computer games. Their heads are down. Heavy backpacks. So these spinal issues, we're finding a condition called anterior head syndrome. I'm just going to turn here, where kids' heads are going so far forward. So that breakdown process, that age process is starting very, very young. Yep. So it's very important to get kids under care, with ABC care, to get those issues corrected. And then also, we teach our patients how certain footwear, what you sit on, your bed, the way you set up your workstation, how you should hold your cell phone. Because one of the problems that I had when I first got into practice, and it didn't happen on everyone because I might have gotten out of the profession, but you would treat someone, they would feel better, and by the time they left or got home the next day, they were back to square one. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And when I learned ABC, that was one of the things that Dr. Jocko taught us, is that certain footwear, soft things you sit in on our beds, and the height of what our head lays on, push bones forward. And once we introduced that, man, that was a huge turnaround. It was a game changer in my practice. And the patients who follow the protocol, the treatment plan, who do the sitting, follow the sitting, standing, and sleeping, their bodies unwind through what I was talking about. Their bodies get younger. Their bodies perform better. If you don't follow those things, you're not going to get the results the predictable and consistent results that we talk about.
Yeah, it's true because you can't, it's just like, you know, if you were to take herbs, but yet you're going to continue to eat McDonald's every day, exactly. The herbs really aren't going to help you. You can, you know, you can go to a naturopath, you can go to a chiropractor that does nutrition, and, you know, they can give you the best superfoods in the world. But if you're not doing, you know, the general things that you're supposed to be feeding yourself, it's not really going to make the same kind of results.
Right. And we talk about lifestyle. Your lifestyle is going to dictate how well your body is going to do, and that's a perfect example. If you're taking these herbs and you're going to McDonald's, sometimes we got to change our lifestyle. Absolutely. And our lifestyle choices is going to determine how well we age or how well we don't age.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all tied together. And I definitely want to say that it's not all or nothing. People sometimes need to take baby steps and go at certain rates on, you know, saying like, okay, I'm going to eat less of this junk food. I'm going to try to cook at home more. I'm going to try to understand more about nutrition, you know, and slowly taking it on over the course of time. But at least like some kind of forward motion and commitment to making changes it's important. We can't expect that we go see a practitioner and they have this magic wand they're going to pull out and say, you're just going to buy these things from me, or you're going to buy the treatment from me, and I'm going to be able to fix anything without you being on board doing your part in taking care of your body. Because it is a relationship between the patient and the practitioner where we're both in a partnership together, and it's like, I do my job, you know, when I'm at home and do the best I can, and then I go see you and you do what you can, you know, you do your piece with your expertise, and then you teach me more, and then I go home and I try to do more of those things, and we work together. That's how it works. We just can't be like, hey, Dr. Kelley, you know, here I am, give me an adjustment, and I'm gonna not need to do anything responsible for my own life.
That's exactly right. There has to be a form of responsibility on their part. And again, it is a process. Because you think about all the training I've had, you've had, and other practitioners have, it's a gradual process of educating patients along, getting them to see the benefits. Some people are all in, some people are just happy with certain results, but there is a responsibility. Heck, the definition of doctor means teacher, and that's our job, to educate our patients Get them to see certain things, take the responsibility, and baby steps. And then all of a sudden, hey, I want a little bit more. Wow, I didn't think I could feel this good. I mean, one of my ultimate goals for my patient is getting your body functioning better than you thought it ever could.
Yes.
As you age. And I've seen that with patients that have been with me for 10, 15 years. They'll all report that, hey, my body is functioning better.
Yeah.
I am doing better than I was 15, 20 years ago.
Yes, that's awesome when that happens too, because I think people just think it's going to be downhill from the point that they're already down, and it's just going to keep going. And they're like, when am I going to hit rock bottom? But they actually start to get better. Right. And it's like, I feel better than I did when I was, 20 years old. And you're like, wow, that's amazing, and you're now 50. But it's possible for people,
100%. And again, when I talk ABC, we talk nutrition, lower your stress levels. Our bodies are designed to move. Get out and do some form of exercise. And we're not a one-stop shop. When you put all of these components in, that's when people start to say, man, this is what true health is about. And I can age gracefully. And again, the talks that you and I've had in the past, that's our goals. And that's what we want for the people that we treat. You can do so much better. Here's the ingredients. Here's all the ingredients. Now go make the cake.
Yes, that's beautiful. So I know you do a lot of tips online on Instagram, and I'm going to share your Instagram page in the text for this when we close it and I go back into Facebook and do that. But is there any place else online? I know you have a website.
So I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Okay. I didn't know you were on all those places, so I'll actually get that all from you and I'll link it. So on Instagram, it's like, isn't it at Bethpage Chiro?
So it's let me have it right here. So I did write down some notes. So Instagram is Bethpage __ chiropractic. Okay. Facebook is Bethpage Chiropractic. Twitter is at DRP Kelley, KELLEY, and then YouTube is Bethpage Chiropractic.
Sweet. So I'll share all of those links, and so hopefully you guys will go and check out some of his stuff, because he does do a lot of really great, like really quick tips. I don't know if you do longer talks. Do you do that on YouTube, a little bit longer ones, or is it all the quick tips that you do on Instagram?
So a lot of it is quick tips. One of the things that I want to start doing is do some longer things, not too long because sometimes people lose interest. But just, again, certain tips that we can do on, like I posted certain things on footwear, on Instagram, on sitting. We're going to do another one for sleeping. We talk about juicing, just a lot of certain tips that we can do for spinal hygiene and overall health.
Awesome. Yeah, that's so cool. I love it how, some chiropractors stay away from the overall health thing and they just want to focus on adjustments. And I'm not saying that I have gotten a lot of help from chiropractors that are that way, but I really do love it when they start to, feel like, hey, like I want to support you on more levels of your body, because you guys learn that in school. It's not like you don't learn about nutrition in school. It's just that I think some chiropractors aren't as interested in the food philosophy as they are in the body work. A lot of them just are so in love with the body work that that's all they want to practice. And
that's okay. And that's okay too.
It is, and it totally is. And I mean, I got some friends of mine that are chiropractors and some local chiropractors that I've seen for years, and I have so much respect for them. So this isn't obviously, and you're not about that either, in no way to, downgrade, any of that stuff, because I have so much respect for all of them. And I have a lot of gratitude because they've really helped me through a lot. So, and you know what, we all have, our things that we are like, that is the thing. Like some people swear by acupuncture. Some people swear by nutrition, mud packing, and QRA and Dr. Marshall. Some people swear by this type of chiropractic. Some people are into the upper cervical. I've heard people that said upper cervical changed my life. It was the best thing ever, like whatever. Some people swear by Reiki, right? Energy work. So it could be anything that is your, gig and it's like, but what I really want to encourage more than anything, if you are still having problems and you've been on your health journey for years, then start to open your mind to like this one person that I've always been seeing for 20 years and I'm still having these same problems. And if they haven't offered you an outward referral, maybe it's time that you on your own go, hey, I'm not going to worry about hurting that practitioner's feelings. Because honestly, as practitioners, if our feelings get hurt because somebody decides to go to somebody else in maybe tandem, or just because you decide to just leave and go to somebody else, That's our problem. It's not your problem. You get to seek the best health possible. And if you haven't found it yet, give yourself permission to not divorce or break up with your practitioner, but just give yourself permission to explore other things, including this, right?
Absolutely.
That's what I want to tell people more than anything.
Right,
It doesn't mean your practitioner's not good. It doesn't mean that they haven't helped you. It just means maybe there's a piece out there that they don't have for you.
exactly. And our health is our responsibility. And we should, and I encourage this with my patients, you should be question authority. And a lot of people don't question their doc or whoever they're seeing. But at the end of the day, it's about results and our health being our responsibility. Question people, ask why you're doing it. It's not that you're questioning their authority in the sense of you don't know. Hey, I want to find out more, because again, definition of doctor means teacher. I encourage my patients, ask questions, because if you understand what I'm doing, the follow through is going to be so much easier.
Yeah.
And if you're treating someone and they're not getting well, no changes, ethically, you should be referring them out.
Yes, absolutely. That was one of the first things they taught us in school. It's like, don't be afraid. You know, if you're trying to cling on to people because it's financial, you're not doing your job.
Absolutely. That's a lack of integrity and ethics. And if we take an oath, and our responsibility is our patients.
So you guys, if you're in the, Long Island, accessible area, I think, are you guys open for business right now, or are you closed? I don't know what your situation is there.
So we're closed, but we do see emergency patients.
That's what it is here too. So if you're in an emergency situation, where you're in a lot of pain and you need Dr. Kelley's help and you're, able to travel to him, he is in Long Island. I'll give you more information, obviously, about how to get in contact with him through all the channels we just talked about, including his website, his phone number, his email address, and all of that stuff. If that's okay, Dr. Kelley, I'm sure you're fine with that. And
I am fine with that. And then also just have people go to, if you're not on Long Island in New York, go to the ABC website, the provider map, and let's see if there's someone that does ABC in your area.
And I'll share that as well with you too, so that you guys can just click on the link to go to this website to see, who is in your area that you could get in contact with. And so just right now, because of the situation that's going on in, the world, we've got a little bit of potentially, not as much accessibility to just going to a chiropractor and starting care. But that doesn't mean that you can't get a hold of them and, develop some kind of a talking relationship and say, hey, look, is this something I could get in now for, or should I wait until, maybe some of these travel restrictions and things are lifted, and they will let you know. So don't feel like just because we're in maybe some stay home situations, depending on what our state says, it doesn't mean that you still can't get a hold of them online. Maybe they're doing some things like Dr. Kelley does, like maybe they do some tips and teaching online too. Maybe they even do some remote access appointments. A lot of practitioners are getting more into that, where they can just look at you. Obviously, what you do with ABC cannot be done over the internet.
Right.
But, maybe some of those doctors do some online consultations or some talking consultations where you could get started with them right now. It's always possible. It just doesn't hurt to look into it right now, even though things are just kind of a little different than they normally are. So
right, and that's a great point, because eventually the coronavirus, this is all going to subside, and we're going to get back to our normal lives, and then people are going to want to get back to handling any of the health issues that they have. But it's right now better to be safe than sorry. But I have my patients; they'll reach out to me. They have access to my cell phone through the internet. Even in my office, you can call my office. It rolls, and when I'm not there, it rolls over to my cell phone, because people they want to have answers. And again, talking about Premier, we sell a lot of Premier's supplements, and especially now, our patients are asking, I'm running low on my antioxidants, and because they want to strengthen their immune system. So we're able to get them at least those supplements. We might not be able to get them an adjustment. And again, people don't realize that a spinal adjustment helps your immune system. But until we can get people back in, taking the right supplements to strengthen your immune system, drinking plenty of water, juicing, eating healthy foods, these are all things that are going to strengthen the immune system until this passes.
Yeah, there's so much out there, and hopefully, my hope for this whole thing is that this is a wake-up call for us, how unhealthy this nation has become. because I don't think we really acknowledge it. I think it's just that it's so status quo that it's like acceptable. Well, I'm aging. Well, this and that and whatever. And this is just the way it is. No, we really can have so much better than this. And this may be the time where we got scared enough to go, okay, I really have to get my stuff together now. I really have to start eating healthy. I really have to stop eating junk food, or not even just the junk food, taking it a step further and understanding, what really is healthy, because a lot of us are so confused about what healthy eating is. There's paleo and there's veganism and there's fruitarian. And then there's 50 million diets out there and nobody knows what's right for them.
And then the thing with that is, there is so much technology out there and there's so many different things. It's very confusing to people. And when people get confused, what happens? They push it away.
They probably don't do anything, or they may make some bad choices based on, an emotional choice because it's what their friend is doing or what their friend is selling or something like that. And they're trying to make their friends and family feel accepted and loved. And so they're just doing what somebody else is telling them instead of thinking. Or maybe they're a practitioner who's telling them to use supplements that have excipients and synthetics in them because that's what their practitioner does and that's what they were taught. So they're just going along with it to keep everybody happy, because people a lot of times are just peacemakers and they want to make everybody happy. They don't want to ask questions. They don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to, whatever. So they're just going to, even though they know it's really kind of feels like it's not helping them, they're just going to do it because that's what they've always done.
And again, like going back to the supplements, you just read labels.
Yes.
When you read the labels, that's what I love about Premier, and that's what I know what you love about Premier. It's whole food, live source. There's no binders and fillers, which is unethical because here are people taking supplements that counting on them, and there's toxins in them, and in the long run, it's going to make them sick. But again, what I mentioned before, objectively looking at things. I mean, step out of the scene for a moment and just look at what's happening and not being concerned that you may upset your practitioner or your friend. Look at your body. When you do certain things, like some of the things I tell my patients, when you eat something, notice your body. If it doesn't feel right, it probably is that thing that you're eating that's not making you feel right. And if you just condition yourself, and we all can do it. You don't have to be a health professional. Just observe when you do certain things. How does my body feel when I'm doing this?
Absolutely.
Especially when it comes to eating and drinking.
Yeah, being mindful and present and paying attention instead of just eating on the run, which I think we were, as a culture, doing so much because it was so go, go, go. And like, I've got 50 million things to do, 20 places to be in once. I can't even sit down and have a meal because I just have to grab and go. And so many people were living like that and they didn't have time. It's just like, well, maybe tomorrow I'll try to get this in order and I'll try to cook healthy and I'll try to start gardening again and growing my, doing a little garden or getting some, fresh herbs or whatever, like little step that you could take. And I was even guilty of so much of that too. So
it does happen.
We can make so many changes. Nobody's perfect and nobody expects you to be, but if you just do one thing and then build on that, like, Dr. Kelley was saying, just build on your baby steps. And pretty soon you get this like mansion that you built of health. And it can be amazing. And it could happen in just a few years. And just even in a few months or a few weeks, you can start noticing that you're feeling better. It's not going to take you a few years to start feeling better. But in a few years' time, when you look back and go, wow, look at all the changes I made and I feel so good about myself. My life is actually worth living again. I feel the magic in my life. It's great. My body feels good. I'm able to do things I couldn't do just a few years ago. Like I'm getting out and, living life instead of just sitting in my chair at my computer all day, or whatever you were doing.
Right. There's so much more that we can have if we just make the changes that you and I discussed today and look at lifestyle, making these lifestyle changes, more healthier lifestyle changes, look at prevention and versus symptoms. And again, what I do with my family, I recommend with my patients, start eating healthier. When the fall comes, I start amping up my antioxidants, strengthening my immune system. I mean, I'm doing that all year round, but from October, from the start of fall to just when spring is just starting, strengthening your immune system, because I don't want to get sick. And if you do notice something, jump on it quickly. Because if you let it grab hold of you, it takes a lot longer to heal. But if you start noticing something and you start working on things to build your immune system, taking antioxidants, eating right, heck, you could feel so much better all year round. Because to say that you never get sick is not true. But I haven't had something that's really held me down for a long time because of the things, the lifestyle choices that I make. And if I do notice something, then I bombard it with my antioxidants and I want it knocked out quickly.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you can just like basically shorten the duration, and then that level of like feeling low energy and kind of crappy and sluggish and stuff all the time, that actually is like that low level, not feeling well, that can be resolved. And then, of course, I have my own feelings about, illness, and it actually strengthens the body and helps purge out things that we need to get rid of anyway. But we just don't need to be taken down for weeks on end. Like,
Right.
usually a sickness should be like, we get sick, we recover within a couple days, and our body's actually stronger for it. So
It is strong because you're building natural immunity. You're building natural immunity. So hopefully we get sick, but like you said, I don't want to lay in bed for a week. I want to get it out. My body captures this thing, builds up its immunity, and then let's get it over with quickly.
Or be living in fear that you're going to die over some cold virus.
Exactly.
This has gotten to the point of being ridiculous that that so many of us are in a state of fear over, getting, severe pneumonia and dying because of a cold. And right. I get it. This is a different virus and whatever. But the point is that if we had taken care of our bodies to begin with, or we start doing it now, we won't have to live in that kind of fear because our body will be resilient enough. And so those are the people that you hear about that recover quickly within a couple days, or they get people say they got a low or a lesser version of it. It's just that their body is more resilient at noticing it, like, yep, I'm going to fight that off, kick it out, and be done with it, instead of, I'm going to let it take me down and create a war inside my body. And I've already got this buildup of old debris that was sitting in there, heavy metals and all kinds of toxicities and everything that I've been taking on and never, gotten rid of for years. And then, pretty soon, this virus just overtakes you, fills your lung up with fluid, and you're dead. Exactly. So there's a difference. I mean, if we are strong and resilient and able to, run our body functions, our basic body functions, it's a whole lot different than if we're not. So that can all change for us. We should probably talk about that sometime in the future too, just like about basic nutrition and things like that. That would be a fun talk to have.
Yeah, I would love to, because then, again, we can sit for hours on.
Look at us.
And again, it shows how much we love what we're doing and want to help people. But if we just continue educating people on different topics, that whole mind shift, because we're seeing it, there is a shift in it. People are looking for more healthier, natural ways of getting their body functioning better.
Yeah, which is beautiful. And I think that's like people like us, that's the one thing that we want to see. Like, if anything happens in this world, we want to see people just taking their power back and knowing, like we did, knowing that we don't have, you were a kid, I was a kid when I started having issues, and if we had continued along that path, we'd be either not here right now, or we'd be in severe crippling pain.
Correct.
And neither one of us are, and now we're able to help other people. So, that's like, we're living our dream, more or less,
Yeah, more than likely, if I had that surgery, you and I probably would not be having a discussion.
Exactly. And yep, that's totally true. And I've known so many people who had scoliosis surgeries, and, not to say that if you've had a scoliosis surgery, there's not things that can be done to better the situation, but it's permanent. It's just like when you get your gallbladder taken out, you can't put it back in. You can't remove those rods from your spine. You can't undo that surgical repair or surgical reconstruction. I had my tibial tuberosity cut off on my knee, scooched over like a half an inch and screwed back in. So that leg is never going to, no matter how much ABC I ever get, we'll never be able to put that knee back to how it was before I was, 19 years old. But we can still make a lot of benefit to that area by doing certain things. And that's why, I don't have severe arthritis in that knee. And, that's why I'm okay there. And I'm bound and determined. Where's my wood? I will never get a knee replacement. I will never get a hip replacement. I will not do it. I will never go back on Celebrex for arthritis. I will never go back on Ultram for arthritis. I will never take a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory ever again, because I have other options. So, and you guys I'm not shaming anybody who's done or does any of that stuff right now. I'm just saying that if you're not happy with what you're getting from what you're doing, there's a lot of other options for you. And I can help you with that. Dr. Kelley can help you with that. We both can help you with that. You can find your own practitioner in your own area. There's lots of hope out there for you guys.
Absolutely. Don't
Thank
give
you
up.
so much for being here today. I know we could probably talk for like 2 more hours. My throat is starting to get dry, even though you did half the talking. I appreciate you so much for being here, and I'm glad that we can talk like this because we vibe with each other, we're aligned, and we do have so much to share. So I'm going to come back once we end and put all of his information out so you guys can find him if you're watching later. It'd be great if people even watch this after this whole coronavirus baloney is gone and we're in a new situation and you still are like, hey, the time is right for me to like go drive and see Dr. Kelley because, I want to see what he has to offer and just get a consultation with him and have him assess, do some x-rays, assess my body, see what's going on with my spine and all that stuff. So,
hey, Dr. Markham, I appreciate you having me on. We had a great talk.
Yeah.
Hopefully, all the listeners got something out of what we talked about, and they can start making those health shifts. And hopefully, you and I can get on another topic another time.
I would love to. We'll start cooking it up now.
Okay, cool.
Sure, we could think of like 50 things to talk about, like just boom, boom, boom.
Easily we could.
Thanks, Dr. Kelley. Have a great day.
You too, Dr. Markham. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.